So if I was going onto a customer's property, I would be looking for anything that looks out of place.
Hi, I'm Kristen from Arborjet Ecologel, and I'm here with Joe Aiken to talk about plant healthcare and how to make money doing it.
It's actually a good discussion, Kristen, because being an RTM, as long as I have, it's probably one of the most common questions we get is one, what do we charge for applications, or how much can we really make? And it's very hard to have this conversation because obviously in the industry we can't price fix, we can't establish a price. So we have to go through a few steps on how you create a pay scale. What's it going to cost? So I think it's wonderful. I think it's going to be a good conversation, and I'm not sure if you hear anything like that yourself when they call in the office. But
so I think, Joe, it's really important to talk about how to get started. That's definitely one of the things that I hear a lot when people are asking, calling into the office, or when we're talking at trade shows. And so in terms of getting started, we definitely try to have a lot of resources here. And in partnership with Sherrilltree, one of the things that we offer is PHC at Sherrilltree.com. And that email address is a really great resource for anybody who's got questions on getting started or questions about certain tree problems. We have a board certified master arborist that will help answer those questions for you. And engage on, like I said, questions around certain products or pest issues, problems in the landscape and tree care.
great point. I think one of the most important things about is just getting into it. And how do you get into it? And I think that's one of the biggest fears in the industry. So it's as easy as taking a picture of a bug, taking a picture of a leaf, having a question, reaching out to Sherrilltree, sending the picture. They'll get hold of us, ask for help. So once we identify the tree and what the problem is, we can create a solution. And then from there, once you find a solution, we give the tree care company who's got the problem the solution, they can go out and sell it to the customer. Mm-hmm. So it does have to start with grassroots arboriculture. What's the pest? What's the tree? Or what's the tree? What's the pest? Is it a problem? And if there is a problem, how do we make the solution?
Really identifying a couple pests in your area, just regionally for your customers. What are some of the main trees that you have? What's the tree inventory that your customers have? If you just recently did a pruning job, did you document that in your system? Can you go back and say, okay, I found out that oak wilt is now in my area. I can go back to everybody who has oaks and reach out to them about treating for oak wilt.
Yeah, so, you might want to know that before you go to pruning, because we all know that you have to prune oaks.
Okay, maybe that wasn't the best example.
No, but that's why it's so important to understand what's regionally in your area, what trees, what pests. And healthcare is avoiding getting the disease. So that's important too. And that's, again, more information that we can share through Sherrilltree.com.
I think a really simple thing to start with would be some of the invasive insects that we're dealing with right now. So I think EAB is a good, emerald ash borer is a really good example. There's ash trees over most of the country. Areas that have been dealing with it for 20 years might still have trees that they need to deal with, but it's continuing to progress. It's made its way into Nebraska, I think all the way into Oregon and Washington.
Yeah.
So it's down in Texas. So it's really a national problem. But keeping your eye on some of these buzzworthy insects, even spotted lanternfly is a good example. Yep. Things that are aggressive and moving are all opportunities that they're often talked about in the news. So you can capitalize on some of the things that are happening. Beech leaf disease is a good example.
Up and coming, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you know what? Even if there's not an insect or disease that's in your area, you could get with soil health. Soil compaction, that's all plant health care. So you could be doing air knife work, you could be doing soil remediation, backfill with compost, organic matter. That is just as important as applying an insecticide or a fungicide, is keeping your trees healthy.
And depending on your state, you're not necessarily required to have licensing for that. Mm-hmm. So this is a great opportunity if you don't maybe have the staff in place to start with applying pesticides. You can start with the soil health, working in that direction, and then work your way up to hiring to more.
Because I was just working with the state of Michigan, the DNR, and they're using, you're right, in most states, to do what we were talking about with the air work and fertilization, you don't need to have a pesticide applicator's license because it's not a pesticide or it's not an application of pesticides. But I would say that's even a great place to start. Get into that. Then you pick out your one pest or your two pests. In Michigan, what we're trying to create is a program that, because all the applications that you do for plant health care, which the nutrition and all that, is the exact same tools and techniques that you use for a pesticide or fungicide application. So Michigan is going to use their experience with that to help them license in the future. So there's a lot of states trying to help you make it easier to get into the trade of PHC.
Can I talk a little bit about integrated pest management, IPM? I think that again, that's kind of in that soil health realm. It's about preventing big problems. So obviously, if you have an invasive insect or disease coming through, that's one thing. But if there's something that can just be prevented by utilizing good practices, by watering, mulching, amending the soil, utilizing beneficial insects.
Yes.
Are there some things out there, Joe, that maybe you can talk about that really align with integrated pest management?
Yeah, IPM, Integrated Pest Management, and they actually added another P in there. Now it's Integrated Pest and Pollinator Management. Because you got to think about now, we're still concerned about pollinators and bees. But I think when you look at IPM, you're looking at creating a threshold of tolerance. So every tree out here, if we looked at any tree around us, we're going to find something wrong with it. But is it to a degree or a level when it starts to deter the health of that plant? So that's where IPM comes in. Is it an insect? If it is an insect, why is the insect? It's because the tree's not healthy enough to put out its own protective systems to prevent itself from being attacked. So that's where the IPM comes in. You're kind of balancing. And that takes numerous times on a property. So that's where PHC is it's not just a one and done. You take a tree down, the tree's gone. Now there's trees that got to come down. We know that. But when you're on a property over and over, you start to see a trend, a health. What can you do? And that's an amazing way to start into it also. Just keep the trees healthy, monitor it. Don't freak out because you see one scale on a tree. It's not tree going to fall over. But then you'll know that you have a maple, there's cottony maple scale, what's the level, when do I need to treat, when do I not need to treat?
That makes me think a little bit too about, as we talk about getting into plant health care, the opportunities that you might have right now on a property that you might not be considering if you're not currently doing plant health care. So to get that reoccurring revenue, what are some things, Joe, that you typically recommend people look for when they're on a property?
Right off the bat, you're looking for the big hitters. Right in there, is there a big insect or disease in there? Then you're going to create a customer profile, and you're going to continue to look at that.
I think talking about the opportunity whenever you're on a property, what are some of the things that can really help to generate that reoccurring revenue?
I think what a lot of companies are doing is that they're charging for. There's a difference between going on there because you got called to look at something. Now, when you set up client services, a lot of guys to really understand a property, you need to be on the property more than once. And you can't go out there and spend an hour on a property. You need to go out there and you need to make a fee. A lot of guys charge for consultation. So every time that they're on there and they have to do a walk to inspect your property, it could be $75. So if I was going onto a customer's property, I would be looking for anything that looks out of place. We're talking about invasive insects and diseases. Look for the white spots on the trees. We talked about don't be alarmed, but you may have to be alarmed. Leaves that are green that fell on the ground, that's obviously not supposed to happen. So that would be like, whoa, what's going on? Pick that leaf up. It could be a petiole borer, and you can tell by taking a picture of it, sending it in. We'll say, oh yeah, it terminated above the abscission zone. Boom, you got something in that tree.
So where do we email for that? What would somebody do?
I would shoot it right to phc@sherrilltree.com, and they'll get it to Kevin, which is one of our BCMAs, myself. There's a whole slew of us, and we always chat them around. We pass it around to come up with a solution. So once we have a solution, then you can get all your products from sherrilltree.com. It's kind of a win-win.
And if that person doesn't know the answer, maybe it's a pest question that's not in the region that he or she focuses on, then they're going to reach out to the rest of the team here and get that answer for you. If it's not one of our regional technical managers, it could be our entomologist that we have on staff. It could be somebody who's got
There's a
more
huge
of
group out here.
Yeah, we have a group of people that can help identify those problems. Maybe it's a serious problem, maybe it's not. But either way, it gives you the ability to go back to your customer and give them an answer and a solution on how
Quickly,
to
like boom, let's get it out there. We got to let them know, man.
And it positions you as an expert. So even if you're just getting started and you're not really sure, it still positions you as the expert and gets you in front of that person. So you're gonna build professionals and you're gonna build trust with your customers. And if you're able to continue to go back onto that property and provide solutions for that customer, it's going to help you build your business. It's going to improve word of mouth.
That's all a customer wants, is to know that we care.
Yeah,
The faster we can get a solution to them, the more that it shows that we're professional, we care.
We're excited about saving trees. It's what we do. But we're really excited to help you grow your business and get that reoccurring revenue with providing plant health care services and taking that integrated pest management approach.